All right, now let's get into the steps on how we can be peacemakers, how we can overcome our impatience and those times of frustration and even anger, okay? This is the first step. And by the way, as you hear these steps, you probably know some of these steps, but these are really hard to do when we're upset and frustrated, okay? Here's the first step. Take this down, write it, take a picture of it. This is the first thing you do. Next time you get angry this week, you just delay it. What do I mean by that? That means you don't express your anger without delaying it first. In other words, think before you speak. Put your mind in gear before you put your mouth in motion. Reflect before reacting. Delay it. Delay it. Look what Proverbs 29:11 says. It says, a fool gives full vent to his anger, but a wise person holds it in check. In other words, when we get upset, we shouldn't just give full vent to our anger. Don't just text that person back. Whoa. Don't just email that. Don't call that person. No. We need to hold it in check. We need to delay it. I heard it said this way. When you get angry, count to 10. When you get really angry, count to 100. And if you're still angry after that, you keep on counting. In other words, delay it, control it. All right, so the first step to overcoming irritation, impatience, and anger is to delay it. The next step is this. Why don't you write this down? We need to analyze it. What do I mean by that? In other words, we need to analyze our anger. We need to analyze, why are we frustrated? Let me give you an example of this, and I'll show you a scripture for this in a few moments, okay? True story of a guy that went to church. It wasn't our church, but a friend's church of mine. And he and his parents went to church, and on the way home, they were in the same car, and they were in a tragic accident. And sadly, both of his parents passed away, and he was just severely injured. Well, years later, after this tragic accident, he became an alcoholic, and he became addicted to drugs, and he eventually landed in prison. And after time, he decided to analyze his anger. And so he started meeting with a counselor. And the counselor and him discovered that he was angry at God. And can I just say, some of you might be angry with God. You might be angry at God because he didn't answer a prayer. He let somebody pass away that meant so much to you. This guy, as he analyzed his anger, he discovered that he was mad at his parents for dying and leaving him. He was mad at himself that he didn't die. And what was happening was, in that anger, it morphed into bitterness towards God and others, and it was spilling out in his relationships and his life like acid, and it was just burning relationships and everything. And so as he analyzed his anger, then he and the counselor, with God's help, they started to then allow God to bring healing to these areas in his life. And now he's doing great, and he no longer carries that anger, and he's no longer in prison. And I just believe that there are many just like him who struggle maybe with substance abuse, or maybe they have constant relationship struggles, or just unending family issues, or a myriad of character issues. And it could be that the root of that is some unresolved anger. And so let me encourage you to do this. The next time you get upset, analyze it. Say, God, why am I angry? God, help me to realize why I am angry. In fact, here's how David did it. Take a look at this. In fact, I encourage you to memorize this verse. I've prayed this so many times, and it has helped me analyze times of frustration, impatience, anger in amazing ways. Here's what David prayed. I want to encourage you to just pray this right now. Search me, O God, and know, it means examine, analyze my heart. Try me and know my anxious thoughts. And God, see if there's any hurtful way in me, and lead me in the everlasting way. What a powerful thing to pray in a conflict. God, search me. Like, what's going on in my heart? God, why am I stressed? Why hurt, anxious? Am I being hurtful towards others? Do I have any part in this problem, God? And you know what I've discovered when I've genuinely prayed this? Is there have been times where God has said, you know what, Dave? You're part of the problem. Here's what you did wrong, and you need to own up to that. And that's been my responsibility. I have to own up to that. Other times it's helped me see blind spots that I didn't even know were there. And it's helped me to resolve conflict better. Here's my point. When you include God in conflict resolution and you bring the wonderful counselor of this world into your issues, he'll gladly help you. He'll gladly point things out to you and help steer you so that you can repair broken relationships. And so analyze your anger. God, why am I angry? Some of you might say, I'm angry because I'm worried about our finances. I'm worried about losing my job, or I'm worried about getting a job in this economy. Some of you might say, you know what, Dave? I'm angry, but really underneath that, the root of it is I feel rejected by my spouse, or I feel rejected by my kids who don't want to spend time with me, or I feel rejected by this person. I feel hurt, but it's coming out as anger, but really I'm hurt. Others of you, as you analyze your anger, you might say, you know what, Dave, I'm fatigued. I'm angry, but really I'm fatigued. I'm fatigued from COVID-19 related changes and challenges. I'm fatigued from homeschooling and working full time. I'm tired with this massive workload, and it's coming out as anger. This is why it's so important to analyze our anger. And let me just say this. If you're taking notes, write this down. Usually your anger or my anger is hurt, frustration, or fear. Usually when you're angry, you're hurt, or you're frustrated, or you're stressed, or two or all of the above. And so once you identify the root, here's why it's important. Then you can deal with the root, just like that guy did. He started dealing with the roots of his addiction, the roots of his relationship problems, and then he could repair them. Then he could get past his addiction. So powerful.